After my father died, my sister inherited the luxury apartments. And me, I got an old, broken motel. People laughed. My husband didn't. He looked at me and called me useless, then kicked me out with my 2 sons. That night, we slept in that empty motel, and what I found there left my entire body shaking. Before I tell you what it was, make sure you like and subscribe. Now, let's begin. My name is Emma. I'm 34 years old, and I'm a mother of 2 sons. 3 weeks after my father passed away, we gathered for the will reading. The room felt formal, quiet, cold. My sister Olivia sat straight, confident as always. Her husband held her hand like they had already won something. My husband sat next to me. He didn't look at me once. The lawyer opened the file and began reading. The downtown apartment complex will go to Olivia. My sister smiled immediately. Her husband squeezed her hand. They both looked proud. Then the lawyer continued. The Sunset Highway Motel will go to Emma. For a second, the room went silent. Then someone cleared their throat. My sister tried to hide her smile. My husband didn't even try. On the drive home, he didn't say a single word. Not one. That night, Olivia and her husband came over for dinner. It was supposed to be a family meal, but it didn't feel like family. It felt like celebration. Just not mine. Halfway through dinner, my husband raised his glass. Well, he said, looking at my sister, at least one daughter got the real assets. Olivia laughed softly. Her husband chuckled. Even my aunt smiled awkwardly. People laughed. I forced a small smile. I told myself it didn't matter, but it did. Later, after everyone left, the house became quiet. Too quiet. My sons were upstairs in their room. I was clearing plates when Daniel finally spoke. A motel, he said. I didn't answer. A broken highway motel? He continued. It's still property, I said quietly. He turned toward me. Your sister builds wealth, he said. You inherit garbage. His words hit harder than I expected. I felt small. Then he said the words that changed everything. You're useless. Silence filled the room. Then he looked toward the stairs, where our boys were sleeping. And he said something I will never forget. Take them. Go live in that motel. I stared at him, waiting for him to calm down, to take it back. He didn't. You heard me, he said. If that's what your father left you, go live there. My hands were shaking, but I didn't cry. Not in front of him. I walked upstairs, packed clothes for my sons, and leave. The motel was 40 minutes away from the city. The highway was dark. My daughter fell asleep in the car. My son kept asking, Mom, are we moving? I said, just for a little while. When we reached the motel, the sign outside was flickering. Half the letters didn't light up. The parking lot was empty. No cars. No guests. The office door creaked when I opened it. The smell hit me first. Old wood. Dust. Closed air. I found one room that looked cleaner than the others. I wiped the beds with tissues. I spread our jackets on top of the sheets. My kids were too tired to complain. They fell asleep quickly. I stood there watching them for a long time. This was not the life I imagined. Not after 10 years of marriage. Not after helping my husband build his business. Not after taking care of everything at home. Around midnight, I walked back to the front office. The power was still working. A small lamp was on behind the counter. I sat in my father's old chair. There were old guest books on the desk. Dust-covered folders. A broken clock on the wall. I opened one drawer. Empty. Another drawer. Old receipts. I don't know why I kept searching. Maybe I was angry. Maybe I wanted to understand why he gave me this place. Then I noticed something strange. Behind the front desk, near the wall, there was a small wooden cabinet. It looked newer than everything else. Cleaner. Less dusty. That didn't make sense. No one had been here in months. I walked closer. The cabinet door was locked, but the key was hanging on a small nail beside it. I froze. Why would my father leave a key in plain sight? My hands felt cold. The motel was silent. The highway noise outside was far away. I held the key, and for a moment, I wasn't sure if I was ready to see what was inside. My hand was shaking, not because I was scared of the cabinet, but because I was scared of finding nothing. If it was empty, then the motel really was just garbage. And maybe my husband was right. I slowly pushed the key into the lock. It turned easily. Too easily. Like it had been used not long ago. I opened the cabinet door. Inside, there was no money, no gold, no dramatic surprise. Just files, thick envelopes, a rolled-up map, and a small metal box. I pulled out the map first. It was a land survey. The motel property was outlined in red ink. But something else was marked too. A blue line running across the back of the land. I didn't understand it. Then I opened one of the envelopes. Inside were letters. Most of them were from the city. Some were from private companies. One name kept appearing again and again. I had never heard of it before. But the letters were recent. Very recent. One of them was dated just 3 months ago. My father was already sick by then. Why was he still receiving letters about the motel? I kept reading. The words were simple. Proposed highway extension. Future commercial zoning. Redevelopment notice. My heart started beating faster. I opened another envelope. This one had an offer letter inside. It wasn't for a small amount. It was more money than the motel could ever make in 10 years. I sat down slowly in the chair. The motel wasn't valuable because of the rooms. It was valuable because of the land. The back part of the property sat directly in the path of a new highway project. The city planned to expand the road. And when that happened, this quiet, empty motel would sit at the center of a major exit. Traffic, businesses, hotels, gas stations, everything. The letters showed that developers had already contacted my father. They wanted to buy the land. But every letter ended the same way. Offer declined. He never sold it. Why? I kept digging. At the bottom of the cabinet, I found a small metal box. This one was locked too, but the key was already inside the first envelope, like he wanted me to open it. Inside the box was a single handwritten note. It was from my father. My hands felt weak as I unfolded it.
Emma, it said.
If you are reading this, then I am gone. I stopped breathing for a second. I know what people will think when they see the will. Let them think it. Let them think it. I didn't give you the motel because it is small. I gave it to you because it is strong. My eyes filled with tears. The city will approve the highway project within the year. When that happens, this land will become more valuable than anything your sister received. I covered my mouth. He knew. He planned this. He continued. You have always been patient. You read before you act. That is why this belongs to you. I sat there for a long time. The motel was not dying. It was waiting. And my sister didn't know. My husband didn't know. No one knew. The letters showed one more thing. A final meeting request from a development company. They wanted to talk again. The date was next month. They were still interested. Suddenly, the humiliation at dinner felt different. The words useless felt smaller. My husband had laughed at this place. He told me to live here. Now I was sitting on something he never imagined. I folded the letters carefully, put everything back inside the cabinet, locked it, not because I was scared, but because I wasn't ready to tell anyone. Not yet. The next morning, my phone rang. It was my sister. Her voice was light and happy. We're refinancing one of the buildings, she said. Investors are excited. I could hear confidence in her tone. How's the motel? She asked. I looked around the dusty office. It's quiet, I said. She laughed softly. Well, at least it's peaceful. After the call ended, I stepped outside. The highway was busy even this early. Cars rushing past. No one noticing the small sign that said Sunset Motel. But soon, they would. I looked at the back of the property. At the open land behind the last row of rooms. That was where the blue line on the map ran. That was where everything would change. And for the first time since my husband closed the door behind me, I didn't feel thrown away. I felt chosen. but I still needed proof. Because letters are one thing, reality is another. And if the highway project wasn't approved yet, then this was still just paper. I pulled out my phone and searched for the city planning office number. If my father was right, then this motel was never meant to be my punishment. It was meant to be my future. The city planning office answered on the third ring. I stepped outside while my children were still asleep. The morning air was cool. Planning department, a woman said. I gave her the motel address. There was a pause. Then typing. Yes, she said. The highway extension project was approved last month. Approved. My heart started pounding. When does construction begin? I asked. Preliminary work starts in 4 months. That area will be rezoned for commercial use. Commercial use. That meant hotels, restaurants, gas stations. Big money. Has anyone contacted the property owner recently? I asked carefully. Yes, she said. Several development groups have submitted interest requests. I thanked her and ended the call. It wasn't just paper. It was real. That afternoon, I called the number from the most recent offer letter. A man answered. This is Daniel from Horizon Developments. My name's Emma, I said. I'm calling about the Sunset Highway Motel. There was silence for a second. Emma, we tried reaching the previous owner. He passed away, I said. Another pause. Well, he said slowly, we're still very interested in that property. We scheduled a meeting for Friday. 3 days later, on Thursday evening, my husband called. I hadn't spoken to him since that night. His voice sounded calmer now. Have you come to your senses? He asked. I'm fine, I said. Emma, you don't have income. You can't stay there forever. I looked at my kids playing outside near the empty parking lot. I won't need to. He sighed. Your sister is closing a big investment deal this week. You should see what success looks like. Maybe I will, I said quietly. Friday morning, Daniel arrived with 2 other people. They didn't laugh at the motel. They didn't look disgusted. They looked interested. Very interested. We walked the property together. He measured the backland, took pictures, asked about access points. Then we sat in the office. Emma, he said, folding his hands, once the highway exit is completed, this location becomes prime commercial land. I know, I said calmly. He smiled slightly. We're prepared to make an offer today. He slid a folder across the desk. I opened it. The number inside made my chest tighten. It was more money than my husband had ever earned in his entire life. More than my sister's yearly rental income. And this was just the first offer. I'll need 48 hours, I said. Of course, he replied. As they left, my phone buzzed. A family group message. My sister had sent a photo. She was at a restaurant with investors. My husband was there too. The caption said, "Celebrating real assets." I stared at it for a moment. Then I typed one message. Let's have dinner Sunday. My treat. Sunday night. Same restaurant. Same table. My sister looked confident. My husband barely looked at me. Settling into motel life? My sister asked with a smile. It's peaceful, I said. My husband leaned back. Ready to admit you made a mistake? He asked quietly. I placed a folder on the table. Not really. My sister frowned. What's that? An offer, I said. For what? My husband asked. For the motel. He laughed. Who would pay real money for that place? I slid the papers toward them. My sister's smile slowly disappeared. My husband stopped breathing for a second. He read the number twice. This isn't real, he said. It is, I replied calmly. And that's just the first offer. Silence covered the table. My sister whispered, That's more than my buildings are worth. Yes, I said softly. My husband looked at me differently now. Not with anger, not with pity, but with shock. You knew, he asked. My father knew, I said. And he left it to me. The waiter came to the table. Is everything okay? He asked. Yes, I said, closing the folder. Everything is finally okay. 2 months later, I signed the final deal. I didn't sell all of it. I kept a share in the development. The money secured my children's future. I filed for divorce the same week. This time, he didn't call me useless. He didn't laugh. He just asked if we could talk. But I had already heard everything I needed to hear that night. He told me to leave. My sister tried to act supportive. But something had changed. She stopped calling it just a motel. Today, when I drive past the construction site, I see cranes. Steel frames rising. Traffic building. The old motel sign is gone. But the land is still mine. My father didn't give me the smallest asset. He gave me the strongest one. And the night my husband told me to go live in that motel, he thought he was throwing me away. He didn't realize. He was sending me straight to my future.